Welcome back to another seasonal tier list where we go over the anime we can expect and I share my opinions. If you're a new viewer, subscribe for future tier lists, and returning viewers, you know the drill. I'm about to make some wild guesses that'll make sense at the end of the season, and you'll correct me on shows I shouldn't be sleeping on. I went ahead and tossed the anime I'm going to skip into that tier, whether that be due to it being an ongoing show or something I'm just not interested in. Initially, I was going to approach some of the fantasy anime, specifically the isekai, the way I normally do. Optimistic for something good that has potential. I've been so hopeful season after season that some show might have any potential, and 90% of the time my faith has been misplaced in these anime. It's the same recycled garbage with an uninspiring title and decent enough animation. Reborn as a vending machine, Now I Wander the Dungeon is more of the same. Are we pretending that making the MC a vending machine is an amazing premise, or are we just choking on the comedy gag it is? Where my unique skill makes me OP even at level 1, as well as am I actually the strongest, aren't just your run-of-the-mill isekai with an unbelievably overpowered protagonist and picking up all the chicks. And level 1 Demon Lord or Ayu Kyoshitsu aren't just the billionth Demon Lord hero loop where maybe they misunderstood each other the entire time. Let's not forget it's not a fantasy without joining the Adventure Guild, just like the Great Cleric. Then we have the current rise in popularity of the Otome isekai that already uses the same formula every time. Female lead in the Otome was evil, but now that the MC has been isekai'd into them, they're good and have to fix the past wrong. Doing this all by plot hypnosis. The most heretical last boss from villainous to savior. Before I explode from fantasy isekai slander, I'll be nice and say Reign of the Seven Spellblades might be an average show. After all that ranting, we're back where we started, all of us watching the isekai like a train wreck, but the locomotive remains intact on the rail. Mushoku Tensei's second season is here to carry us to what an isekai is meant to be. With how much I love the first and second halves of the first season, I believe this will be a fire anime of the season. I can't wait to see how characters will further develop and what the story has in store for us going forward. Now that I've gotten that out of my system, let's start with the first anime that's on our list right now. My Happy Marriage. For me, taking a look at this, I think that this is going to be something that's average to bad. When I look at this anime, I don't see anything that will really wow or shake up the season in any meaningful way. It just seems like your average romance anime. And then we have Sinduality Noir. When I take a look at it, I'm intrigued by the post-apocalyptic world that it seems to be set in. My major concern with it is the fact that when you look at the trailer, you see a very bland mecha Gundam-esque type of character suit, and it's not really inspiring for me. Along those same lines is the gene of AI. I might as well just lump them together right now. Now more than ever, AI has become an extremely realistic thing in many people's minds, and it's not just limited to the realms of sci-fi as it once was, and there's a lot of questions people have. This might be an opportunity to answer those questions in a good way, and that's why I see potential in both of these shows. Another show following in the potential tier is Dark Gathering. I'm always hopeful for a good horror supernatural show. Anime doesn't really seem to deliver all that often on it, so it's always something that I'm skeptical about, but I'm always looking for something good to come out of them. Unfortunately, one of my biggest concerns is the over-characterization of the characters. I'm not really a fan of characters having skulls and stars in their eyes. It's just very off-putting and doesn't feel very human to me. And because of things like this, it just makes it hard for me to really immerse myself in the anime. Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence, this is something else that I think is just going to be average. When I look at it, it seems like just your cozy romance anime. I don't really think that there's anything really amazing here that can shake up the season at all. I don't normally talk about specials, I normally just stick with talking about the anime themselves, since I also am trying to bring stuff onto your radar as well. Let's really quickly mention Fate Strange Fake Whispers of Dawn. This can be something very popular. Fate has a really high bar, and so that's where I'm expecting anything from Fate to be. Along those lines of putting something under your radar is the second season of The Duke and the Death of His Maid. I think this will be pretty popular just going off of the first season. It seemed a lot of people enjoyed it. It's not really my type of thing. If you liked the first season, here's the second one. Who doesn't love a giant tournament arc? And so for me, I think that Helk might have some potential to be a pretty decent show this season. Can it deliver? Can it break out of this loop of Demon Lord hero stuff? We'll have to see. This is the third season of Rent a Girlfriend, and I'm going to be straight up with this. I loathe Rent a Girlfriend. I hate the show. I hate the manga. I've read and watched way too much of this show, and this is a piece of garbage. But I know tons of people are going to watch it, so that's why it's going into the popular section. I hate this show so much because both of the main characters are just completely detestable. And I just wanted to mention ulterior reason. Just because you saw some thighs in a trailer doesn't mean it's going to be good. Liar Liar is something I expect to be popular as well. The reason being that I think that Liar Liar can be something popular is that it reminds me a lot of shows like No Game No Life and Kakaguri. I'm really not going to watch it because I dislike other shows that do the same types of things, so I'm going to stay away from it. But if you like them, maybe it's something for you. So then there is Rurouni Kenshin. I think that this might be something popular. I know that it already has an established IP that a lot of people have seemed to enjoy it. I see it's pretty highly ranked and pretty highly popular on Mel. So this might be a good indication that this returning IP can be something a lot of people can be happy to watch. With Rurouni Kenshin, I hope that it just gives a good experience unlike Trigun. I don't expect much disagreement around this. So, of course, Jujutsu Kaisen second season is going to be fire. First season was super solid. It delivered on something we very rarely get to see in shonen. And we're seeing people actually fight. People are dying. There's stakes to it. Character choices matter a whole lot. It doesn't feel like you can convince a villain to just become a happy-go-lucky guy. The expectation for this season is that this should definitely end up being a top 3 anime. The Dreamy Boy is a Realist will be the next anime to talk about. I haven't seen much when it comes to school and romance animes these days that really just wows me as much as it used to anymore. It feels like we end up doing kind of the same type of stories and nothing else really changes. I'm expecting this to be an average anime, though that doesn't mean in the end it actually will end up being that. Bungo Stray Dogs fans, we do not have to wait multiple years again like we did for the 4th season. We're already getting the 5th season and I'm already expecting it to be a banger. I think the 4th season did a lot of good things and that there's an opportunity in this season to really elevate the floor of this anime. One thing I will say is the anime needs to pick up in pace because it feels like it's kind of falling behind. It feels like we've slowed down a lot compared to the earlier seasons and that is somewhat concerning for me. This is going to be the 2nd season of Spy Classroom, and the 1st season did not impress me at all. In fact, it was a lot worse than I expected it to be. Given that there's a 2nd season, I don't really have much hope for this anime. Maybe they'll be able to do something interesting, but so far, it's just a very boring anime. If you thought Rent a Girlfriend was the only anime getting flamed this season, you were wrong. Masamunekuns Revenge R is the 2nd season, and is another thing that I'm going to be disappointed in. While less so to the extent of Rent a Girlfriend, I think for many people this was one of their first anime, and when they watch the 2nd season, I don't think it lives up to the hype that many people have for it. There's a lot of anime that's come out since 2017, and your taste has changed. Unfortunately for many, the rose-tinted goggles of Masamunekuns Revenge are going to be yanked off, and the anime is going to be exposed for being what it is, and that's mid. Something else mid that everybody loves is the Quintessential Quintuplets. I'm expecting that since this has a lot of followers, there's going to be a lot of people that give this special a shot. If you're a fan of Baki Hanma 2nd season. This is going to be an ONA, so if you're interested in this show, there's more for you to enjoy. Returning to the realm of anime I want to watch is Monogatari's 2nd season. I think that this 2nd season has potential to be even greater than the 1st season, which spent much of the time developing the world and the cast of characters that live in it. I think that it's a joke that this anime is so slept on. While for myself, it's not amongst the greatest anime, I think a lot of people would really enjoy watching this. I, like many others, probably thought it would take a lot longer for more episodes to come of this anime. Bleach 1000 Year Blood War is back with more. And I think how good it was is a testament to how important it is to have a shonen with stakes in it. Hopefully the precedent that the first part of this arc set can continue here. This might just be a continuation of my disappointment in the ice guy and his cool female colleague, but my tiny senpai is something that does not inspire anything in me. This is going to be an average show. And then we have more Horimiya. It seems like there were some parts of the manga that were not adapted when they were doing the main anime, and so they wanted to bring that closure to fans, I guess. Now, I never actually have gotten around to watching Horimiya. I know that it's insanely popular and very well rated, so maybe at some point I'll be able to get around to it. However, for right now, I'm expecting it to be popular, and most of the people that were fans of it should definitely put it on their list. Something else involving romance that I expect to be popular is The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses. I think that unfortunately for myself, I am not expecting this to be that good of a show. When I look at the synopsis and then tie that in with the fact that it's literally romantic subtext and not actually romance, I'm just going to be left disappointed, and I don't think that there's going to be much relationship development in this show. Did you know The Devil is a Part-Timer had a second season? And now we have a sequel to that. Masamunekuns Revenge fans, you can be happy to know that my rose-tinted goggles for Devil is a Part-Timer were broken when the second season came out. But this show just definitely is not what it once was. It's definitely still a good average show. I don't know what I saw in Ayaka, but this is going to be a bad show. At one point I thought, hey, this might have some potential. But then I took a look at the trailer and I got flashbacks to a show that I extremely didn't like. And that was Shinobi No Itaki. And unfortunately for me, that's why I have to drop it down this far. Finishing off the tier list, we have Zalm 100 Bucket List of the Dead. I don't really know how I feel about this anime or really what to expect. But when I take a look at it, I think that there's a lot of potential here and there is a lot of popularity around it. So I'm going to say not only is it going to have potential, but I think it's also going to be a fire anime this season. Hopefully I'm correct, and if not, you swing and you miss. We're not done just yet. Mal has also decided to put out a fantasy league for this summer, and so let's go over and let's figure out what we want to put. Alright, so these are my expectations for the season. These are my active anime, and then these are also the anime that I have on the bench. I think obviously it can be a bit confusing when you take a look at this and say, hey, you said such and such about this anime, but then you're saying that it's going to be something really good. My opinion can be pretty different from everybody else's, and this is my expectations of the community census around them. I understand that my taste might not suit everybody else's, and so that's why I kind of do this accordingly to that. Another thing to take a look at is when anime are airing. So even though a show might be more popular than another one, because the fact it might be airing later, it might be something that you want to shift over to your bench instead of having active for the season to start with. And you might also be surprised that I put Reign of the Seven Spellblades so high up as an active pick. When I did Mal in Spring, one of the anime I picked was Isekai Cheat Skill. So to me, there always seems to be a lot of people watching these shows, even though they're pretty mediocre. So I might be able to get some nice points there. If you enjoyed the video, like it to push it into the algorithm, and subscribe for future content. Thank you for everybody that stuck around and listened to me ramble on about every sort of anime this season.